All right, y'all. So it hasn't been too long ago since I watched the movie that I seen today at 4:15. Last night, to prepare for it, I watched 28 Days Later. This morning, and periodically throughout my work breaks, I watched 28 Weeks Later. Really freaking regret that. And right after work, I watched the 4:15 showing of 28 years later. Now, I'll say this, 28 years later, right here with 28 days later. It's almost neck and neck. 28 days later, 28 years later. It's almost neck and neck. It's almost as good as 28 days later. And there's some parts of 28 years later that's better, but ultimately 28 days later, I believe, is the best of the trilogy. With 28 years later being in second place and 28 weeks later being a horrible memory. That kid was so freaking annoying. You know, Ronan should have he should have. To both of them. To both of them. They ruined, y'all know they ruined everything. Anyway, 28 years later is basically taking place in a Scottish type of environment. It's moved on from the UK to some Scotland, to some Scottish outback type of area where we meet some colony of survivors that have made like a home for themselves. And they've got a system going where they build the next generation of kids into hunters of zombies. And that's pretty much like half the movie is, well, first we have Aaron Taylor Johnson's character. I'm not sure the actual name of the kid that plays Spike, but the son's name is Spike. And then we have Jodie Comer. I think that's her name, Jodie Comer, the chick from Killing Eve. She plays the mother. And Ralph Fiennes, I believe, plays the doctor. So we have Aaron Taylor Johnson, or however you say his name, the guy that played Craven. Him, the dad, he is teaching his son to be a hunter. Now, while they go out and get first world experience on what it's like hunting zombies and checking to see what it's like to identify places where a zombie has been, different types of zombies, which is kind of how it got a little bit of Zombieland 2-ish, where they start identifying different types of zombies out there. You got fat ones, thin ones, really thin ones, slow ones, really fast ones. That's the usual type. We got smart ones, dumb ones. We got leaders. We got followers. You got all different types of zombies. But he was teaching his son about all those zombies and how to hunt them, how to correctly use his bow. While that's happening, they are preparing a welcome back feast for when he comes back and he's officially a hunter. And while that's happening, Jodie Comer, who plays the mother, she is basically bedridden because she's sick with some mysterious type of illness, which is pretty much the second half of the movie. She's bedridden with some mysterious illness, and she's having really bad headaches to where she can't go nowhere. She can't directly look into the light, and she pretty much doesn't leave the room. So, half the movie is pretty much Aaron Taylor Johnson trying to teach his kid all about these different types of zombies, identifying them. Hey, you see the blood on the leaves? Guess what? It doesn't mean Kanye. It means a zombie. He's doing all of that, and when they get back successfully, surprise, they get back successfully. They're not going to kill off the characters. Come on now, don't be crazy. They get back while they're having a celebration. The kid notices that the mother is really sick, and the rest of the second half of the movie is him trying to find the Ralph Fiennes character, the mysterious doctor, and that turns into a whole different other type of adventure with the doctor teaching the kid about the world. So while the dad teaches him about hunting zombies, the doctor teaches him about the world. So half the movie is hunting zombies, the other half is finding treatment for his mother. And that's pretty much the movie. That's pretty much, I mean, the 28 days, 28 weeks, 28 years later movies, they're not too complicated with the plot. It's basically a zombie movie. But with this movie, half of it is a zombie movie. The other half is finding yourself, finding what type of person you are. When you don't have no dad to back you up, no colony, no crew to back you up, what kind of man are you going to be? When it's just you by yourself, alone in the wilderness, what kind of man will you be? Better yet, when zombies are coming your way, are you going to be prepared to do what it takes? Those are lessons in the movie that the dad teaches him. How far will you go for the people that you love? The people that you love, how close are you? How close are they? Are you going to keep them in your heart? Are you going to remember them? You have to study these zombies to learn more about them, and sometimes killing isn't the answer. Now that's a surprising lesson that you learn in the movie. That's the doctors teaching the kid. But yeah, I'll tell you this, it's a good movie. The chanting and the guy over the radio that's repeating the phrases over and over again with all the marching, and that was a good touch. I liked that. That was one of the few points they had over 28 days later. And 28 years later, when they were going back through the flashbacks of when they were watching tapes of old school battles where they would shoot the arrows and they would march in place, and they used those tactics and employed them into their zombie hunting. They used old school tapes and videos and employed those lessons into the zombie hunting. So seeing those flashbacks and seeing what was going on there, that was a nice touch. Also seeing the dreams of the kid and seeing the dreams of the mother and seeing her go through the symptoms of her mysterious illness that she had, that was also a nice touch. How they started dreaming about memories that they've had back in the day, and they started dreaming about getting attacked and stuff like that. That was a nice touch. You got to see it for yourself to understand what's going on. But that was a nice touch that they did right there. The setting, I liked it. I liked the colony type of setting. I like the closeness of it all. You get to see how everything works. It's very familiar, very comfortable, very practical. You see how everything goes down. I like that. I like the abandoned bus scenes. I like the abandoned bus scenes. That was nice. It looked very nice. The grasslands were very pretty. I appreciate a good setting. I do. I appreciate a good setting. Oh, man. The boneyard. When you get to the boneyard scenes, I'm just saying, it looks so freaking cool. how it was made. The boneyard scenes are cool. It looks very nice. The process of making the boneyard scene, when you see that, it's pretty cool. It's pretty nice. Meeting the doctor and what he has to do to survive, that was a pretty good touch too. He takes a more scientific approach to surviving out in the wild, which he passes on those lessons to the boy. Meeting the colony at the end, not going to tell you what type of colony it is, but meeting them at the end, that was a pretty cool scene. I'll tell you this though, taking over UK in 28 days later, in 28 weeks later, yeah, a whole lot easier doing that than trying to do that with the Scottish people. Yeah, that's not happening. Whether it's an army or a zombie invasion, it's hard trying to take over the Scottish people. You'll learn that real quick in the movie. It's hard fighting them. But yeah, 28 years later, almost as good as 28 days later. The music, I forgot to mention that. That happens all through the movie. Heart-pounding music, even some hits. Even some, hit songs was happening in there. I liked the music. That was actually a surprise at how good the music was. The timing of it, how it fits some of the scenes. I did like that. That was over 28 days later. The music was better. It just was. But I liked the music. I liked the setting. I liked where they placed the action. Half the movie is like basically hunting zombies. But even in the second half, where it's just like learning stuff, there's some pretty good action scenes in between there. So it's a pretty well placed movie where they placed all the action. It's pretty well placed. So yeah, you're not going to be really bored with it. What else? The acting was good. Jodie Comer did her thing. The boy was excellent. My gosh, that boy was good. That boy has a heart of freaking gold. He's pretty good with a bow. And he tries his best to listen to his parents. I like that kid. I like that kid. He was a good kid. He was a very good kid. You can tell he got raised right. The mother was good. Jodie Comer, she did good acting. And unlike Aaron Taylor Johnson, her accent was good. I'm not saying Aaron Taylor Johnson did a bad character. It's just he needs to work on the accents. I mean, if you've seen Craven, he needs to work on accents. But for the most part, the acting was good. Ralph Fiennes, as much as I can't stand Ralph Fiennes, I don't care. I don't care. I can't support him. You snitched on Kate Winslet, and I'm not forgetting it. As much as I don't like him, his acting was good too. So it's like, yeah, the acting was good. The music was almost the best part. The action was well placed. The storyline was good, with teaching how to hunt the first half, teaching life lessons the second half. Storyline was good. It had a lot of surprisingly heartfelt moments in the movie, so that was great too. It was a great movie. A great installation to the 28 days, 28 weeks, 28 years whole thing. It was good. It was a good addition. I like this movie. Just a little bit less than 28 days, but I liked it a lot. I liked it way more than 28 weeks later. Way more than that. But yeah, 28 years later, great movie.